Hello! This video is presented to you by Lumi, Tina, and Elaine. We're students from the EDCP class at UBC, and today we will be showing you how to make simple crochet work. Welcome to this crocheting tutorial. What we consider to be crochet today can be traced back to the 15th to 17th century. It is a textile technique that you can find in many cultures around the world, including France, South Africa, England, Italy, Arabia, and China. Using a hook and yarn, people create intricate patterns for diverse purposes. Besides its long and rich cultural history, there has also been a strong social element associated with crocheting. It is an intergenerational activity that connects communities, legacies of past generations, and family. Nowadays, many people take crocheting as a hobby, just like us. It is also a popular technique used in textile arts. Here are some examples of installation pieces that incorporated crochet into their construction. We find crocheting to be an excellent task for relaxation and recharge, which allows us to soothe away our anxiety and stress, as well as rebuild our mental peace. If you're interested in learning crocheting, whether to try it out as a hobby or for self-care, follow along. First, we're going to teach you the basics of crochet, specifically the chain stitch and double crochet. After we get familiar with the foundational techniques, we will then show you how to assemble these simple stitches to create a more complex pattern. The flower granny square. The flower granny square can be used to make scarves, handbags, AirPods cases, even sweaters and hoodies. Before actually starting crocheting, let's start by preparing your materials. We'll first need a set of crochet hooks. For this project, we can use 2.5mm to 3.5mm hooks. Today, I am using a 2.5mm hook. Next, you'll need different colors of wool yarn. Here, I prepared 5 different colors. You can always choose the colors you like. And lastly, you'll need a pair of textile scissors. Now it's time for the real work. Let's start with chain stitch crochet. To begin, if you're right-handed like me, you can hold the yarn using your left hand. I usually wrap it around my index finger and make a slip knot, just like this. We'll then transfer the slip knot onto our hook and tighten it, like so. To make the chain, we then wrap the yarn around the hook. This is called yarn over, and pull it through the loop. Then we repeat the same steps, yarn over, pull through, wrap the yarn, pull through again, and after repeating this process, you'll get a single crochet chain. To end off the chain, pull the loose end of the yarn through the last loop you created. This knot will be the starting point of our next technique, double crochet. To make a double crochet chain, first take the single crochet chain that we just made and poke our hook through the loop that we just left off with. To start, we will first yarn over on our hook, and then we will poke our hook into the third hole on our single stitch chain, creating 3 loops on our hook. Then yarn over again and pull through 2 loops off the hook, like so. Now you should have 2 loops remaining on your hook. And then we will yarn over again and pull off the remaining 2 loops off the hook. This will be our first set. Now we are ready to stitch our repeating patterns for the double stitch chain. Similarly, we will first start by yarning over, and now we're poking our hook into the hole right after. We will then yarn over, pull through the first loop, and this will give us 3 loops on the hook. Then it will be a similar process described before. We're going to yarn over, pull the first 2 loops off the hook, and then yarn over again, pulling the remaining 2 loops onto the yarn. This will be our double stitch pattern. We're going to demonstrate again, so yarn over, poke our hook into the next hole, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over again, and then pull through the last 2 loops. Now you can repeat the same steps to get a double stitch chain. Once you're satisfied with the length of your double stitch chain, pull the loop off the hook. Feel free to cut off the loose yarn and you'll get a cute sample, like so. Now that we learned both chain stitch and double crochet methods, we can now put them together and make the flower granny square. To start making the flower granny square, we will first need to make the center. Here we are wrapping the yarn around our finger 3 times. This will create a loop like this. And we will be doing our crochet work based off of this ring, called the magic ring. We will first stick our hook into the ring and then make a chain stitch. Then continue crocheting, making 3 chain stitches. Then we'll be doing a double stitch crochet. However, instead of sticking our hook back into the single chain loop, we will be sticking our hook inside the magic ring. Repeat 1 more double crochet here. This will be our first set, which has 3 chain stitches and 2 double crochets. We then do 2 chain stitch crochets. Then do 3 double crochets. This will be our second set. We will continue crocheting the center layer of the flower granny square using this pattern. Only the first set has 3 chain stitches and 2 double crochets. The rest of the patterns all have 3 double crochets only, and each set is connected by 2 chain stitches. Here we are arriving at our last double stitch of this pattern, and now we will be making a chain stitch to close off this pattern. After the pattern is successfully crocheted, we will now tighten this piece to make the center. To do so, first tug on the free end of the yarn. Then you'll want to grab the shorter loop inside the magic ring and tug. Lastly, pull on the free end of the yarn again. Now that the pattern is closed into a circular square shape, we're now ready to secure it by crocheting. As demonstrated, poke our hook into the open loop at the end of the crochet pattern, and then stick the hook into the first hole of the first set of your pattern, like so. And we're going to do a single stitch to close the entire pattern off, like so. Yarn over and then thread it through. So now we have the centerpiece, or the first layer of the flower granny square. Cut the loop to take the project off, and now we can move on to the second layer. So here we have the centerpiece of our flower granny square that we just made. Shown here are 4 holes that we created, and each one we will be building off of to create the second layer. So first, stick your hook inside the first hole and grab your yarn. Here we're using a different color, but you can choose the same one if you wish. Now we're going to create a single chain stitch to connect the new yarn onto our project, like so. After securing the new thread, we can now continue crocheting our second layer. We will first do 3 chain stitches followed by 2 double crochets. All these stitches will be done within the first hole. Alright, so here we completed the first set. Again, we're going to connect the sets by 1 chain stitch and then going back to the same hole that we worked on and stitch another set of double crochets. So now we completed 2 sets of double stitches, and now we're going to make 2 chain stitch. This completes our first big set of crochets for the second layer. As shown here, we have 2 sets of double crochets connected by 1 chain stitch. Notice that the first double stitch in the first set is actually composed of 3 chain stitches. And to complete the second layer, we'll have to repeat the same process in each of the 4 holes at the corners of the square. Let's work through another hole together. So here we're doing 3 double stitches as 1 set. And connect them with 1 single stitch, followed by another set of 3 double crochets. Now we're going to finish off this big set with 2 chain stitches. And we're going to repeat the same process for the rest of the 2 holes. After completing the full pattern, we're now ready to close off the second layer. Poke your hook inside the 3rd chain stitch that we started initially. And now, crochet a single stitch to secure and close off the second layer. You now have completed the second layer of the flower granny square. Continue follow this pattern to crochet the next 3rd, 4th, and 5th layer to create this full square. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Have fun crocheting!